is day 932 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. That's not Arukh HaShulchan of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please come me directly. Very, really appreciate it. Today we're doing Simon Tov Reish Chav Tes, Sif Chaf to Sif Chaf Ches. Chaf. Any type of food which is suitable for human consumption, they can become tuma. But animal food, animal fodder, they become tuma. The food which is unique, as opposed to animal fodder. Therefore, straw or hay. Even though they're suitable for animals to eat, you use them for schach. And they're the primary form of schach. You'll find me call it the pasuk from the refuse of your silo or of your wine press. There's a question. Any fruit before it becomes into water is not makabel tuma. I can choose any food which is not in mukshal kabel tuma. The answer is the came name bach ain't bach hisar latuma. Since there's no intrinsic reason why it shouldn't become tuma, it's only a peripheral issue. You can't call it something which is not suitable to kabel tuma. Shem makabel tuma they mind. It's going to be a kabel tuma when it comes into kind of water, and then even when sheretz touches it. But furthermore, how can you use it for schach? Perhaps soon it's going to rain. The apostle garment is going to puzzle altogether. To psulam min Torah, their psul is midaraisa. Like anything else is mikabel tuma. You have fig leaves. Fig branches in which there are actual figs. Uzmarasa geffen, or grapevines, may not have been which are actual clusters of grapes. If the refuse, the wood, is more than the food, the sachem you can use them for slach. If not, you can't use them. You can't ask according to the Rambam who writes, if you mix something which can be used as slach, something which cannot be used as slach. Even though there's more kosher than puzzle, it's puzzle. According to him, how can we follow majority here? I could say the that which I'm wrote there. So each one was independent. And then he made tzchach both of them. In the time because we know sham, and for the reason which he wrote there. Not that when they're both there together at the beginning, from the get-go. And we have butter brov there, where their minority is butter, the majority, who like all the rest of the Torah. For I am mikra the migonacha mikvecha, and the proof is from the pasuk migonacha mikvecha. That the is going learning besides the gagre elchen. If you take some straw from the silo, do you think you're not going to find some kernels inside it? So too in the refuse from the wine press, you're not going to find any grapes there. Vayazim saruva must be that we follow the majority. In such a case. We have a hold of the principle of yad tuma, meaning if the food needs the handle, so to speak, which extends out from the fruit, din hayad kedina ochel, the halacha of the handle is like the halacha of the fruit. Shemakabel tuma is a kabel tuma also, whatever fruit it is, not I say fruit. V'dashin la mikra, we learn our pasuk b'reish perek or otem and muzak schulin. Therefore, if you harvested the grain la'achol to eat it, v'ochel tzarich la'kashin, and you need the straw which it's to which it's attached, la'achol be'masa'ochel to hold on to the kernels. Yesh la'yad toras ochel, then the yad, the straw itself has the status of ochel kabel tuma to receive tuma. So there has to be enough in the refuse to negate the food plus the yad of the food. It's limited to what's convenient to be convenient handled. Convenient handled. Beyond that, it's not like food. So it's up to 3 tefachim. It says here, not more. That's betvua by grain and it'll just harvest it. Cannot break out luktzin. The Shani's bar also there it says the yachol tomorrow the handle of dates arba tefachim. It's 4 tefachim. Meshkol shalanovim. And with great collectors, ain't shilayad. The handle can go on forever. Asian those who say the Asian exhort honey atu honey. We should decree that I guess the longer handles, I'm not sure what he means in this, are also because of the shorter handles. I guess. Why I don't know why she makes zeros on her own. That seems to be the case in Shubas Arush. Let's see the Mishnah Berurah helps us out here. Mishnah Berurah brings down the Magen Avraham to be mach. When he writes, according to this, you have to be careful not to cover the straw of the grain, not to use the straw of the grain as a cover before you beat off the kernel, the kernels. So it means. So I'm not sure what he's marking on. Says the Prima is not sure even after they're bitten, and Kuri Yaakov agrees to the task that's formidable. Nevertheless, be careful. Therefore, you want to use straw and hay as schlach. You have to take off the shibolim. What are they called in English? Stuff where the grain is, the top of the stalk. It's escaped me at the moment. The tuft at the top, but that's not the right word. And we have to take those out because they are, they would be makabel tuma. But I still don't understand what he means here. The yeshlik zor hani atu hani. I guess he means that even if it's not a yad, you don't intend to eat the food. Such as where you have a few kernels left, but you don't intend to eat it. So then it should be mutter because there's no yad in this case, because there's no food in this case, right? So, but he's saying that the Magen says still should be machmer to remove it from the food. And only use them for a schach, and that's what the Mishnah Berurah is inclined to say. The Arukh HaShulchan is not inclined to say that. Okay, Chav Gimel. When is there yad? When you harvest them for food. If you harvest them for schach, they have no yad. So I don't know if I would say Magen Avraham is correct because this obviously it seems to be a separate halacha where he's judging, he's talking about whether it's connected, whether it's considered yad or not. It could mean, what Magen Avraham really means is that the yad of, let's assume this is what it means. So the yad of grain is also yad up to 4 tvachim, just like the yad of tamarim, of the dates, because we made lo plug. It makes a distinction. And that, the Rosh says, why should we make nukzeres on our own? So it's only the first 3 tvachim, which are considered to be problematic, not the 4th tefach, except by dates. I don't know those lines. And now he talks about whether your intent matters, right? If you harvest them for the food, you harvest them for the schach. There's no loch of yad. You didn't harvest it for food. But on the contrary, on the contrary, the yad joins together with everything else there to nullify the food. If you cut them down for food, then you change mind and make them schach. We have a principle with tuma. A thought does not remove something from being makabel tuma, or rethinking. And it can also be maisa unless it's a maisa. Can't say that says when Maisa, there we have to do a Maisa, she Nicola called that everybody can see Shazel Sikuch is meant for schach v'lochir, not for eating. Called Shiyadu Osan, such as you thresh them, Lotio, Matvua, to remove the grain. Melashin Hayad. And what a matter, of course, you don't need it to be Hayad at all, because it's not Yad for anything. Because I was saying about Shalom Zif Yurav, Shalom writes Mesachin be Pinoju. And you call about Arabi Shomer, which is called a Shomer. Macho Behema. I don't know what it's called. Shomer is an Arabic word here. It doesn't mean safeguarding. Macho Behema, it's animal food. The people eat, they only eat it for medicine. Akal Shom. End quote. We don't know what this means. We learn for what they say. People do eat this for healing purpose, medicinal purposes. Unless you're eating it for the purpose unless you will eat it for the purpose of a food as opposed to medication. Eating for food is not to be eating at all. You take for healing also things which are bitter. They call suitable to eat just because they take bitter things, and of course pills, which are not at all suitable to achila, etc. Later I'm going to learn that if you have schach posel on top of the sukkah, it passes the sukkah if it's 4 tvachim. For avir chamor himenu, airspace on top of the sukkah is more severe. When it says b'shlosh tvachim, it ran sukkah non-kosher if there's 3 tefach or more of airspace. Let's say you made the schach of the sukkah part of it be a rakos with vegetables shemarini she's yabesh, which we're going to very quickly dry until she was within 7 days of the yontif. And they're going to dry. They're going to fall until there's airspace left there. I'm soon inside manage come to the puzzle to schach as well because of Megabel Tuma. And you know, schach puzzle arba tvachim lebesosu. Now locha, even though it looks like schach puzzle, it doesn't require 4 tvachim to puzzle like we require of schach puzzle. El kavir this is like air. Leave so b'shlosh tvachim and when is the puzzle in 3 tvachim. Vim einak on these yabish, we don't normally get dry associated with mechai within 7 days of Yosef, because dinam k'schach puzzle, then they're like schach puzzle, posted mark by, we're talking the only puzzle in 4 tvachim. I feel k'shachar achagis yabshu, that's true even if after Yontif they'll dry up, because it's not going to be dry during Yontif. Mishnah B'Alacha writes, according to Levush, if it's going to get dry enough to the point that the sugar is going to be more shade, more sun than shade, it's possible also now. In other words, you don't wait till it becomes that dry, but it's possible from now. Al Shem Sofa. And Pri Megav is not sure about that. I'm not sure about it either, but that's what Bush says. Amos said in Lake Yavish Miyad, Kam Shem Lachim Adayin. Amos when do we regard as Yavish? When they're still moist. Not when they just start to dry. Anything which normally gets dry within 7 days. You may immediately judge it like airspace. That gap. You may have schach kosher, but it's not last 7 days. It's possible. The brackets he says Zeu Kavana Surah Mob, see if you base. Okay, Michael Mashalon, okay, it's not important for us. And the end, so it's saying for these bar, but Simatov Rish Lam and Siv Gimalaying and Sham is all going to also be discussed in future. What is it you have to? Chaf Chester. Chaf hey. Mechubal it's possible schach. Anything which still connected around is possible schach. You see possible chaf me going to call you reka. Mikvecha when you gather from the Goran and Yaakov. Should I see when you gather them up from the ground to Tit Lashem, you pluck them, Lokshim Chuban when they're connected to the ground. The toes is so chibro. If, however, it was set on the ground and then you put it back onto the ground, kosher schach, it's kosher for schach. Mishnah says that's only when you put it back for the purpose of shade. And if it took root, even if you put it back for the purpose of shade, it's possible because of mechuber. So he says it's a very narrow heter. This teleshow is so chibro. It's only if hasn't it hasn't taken roots in the ground, and it's also if you put it back still for the purpose of shade. Even though something which was severed from the ground and then you replaced it, connected to the ground. So in terms of shkita, it's like it has lochem mechuber. In other words, it's possible to shkita because it's mechuber karka. Kamishlavda we are there siman vav. Kakol nevas came to le'inyan extra zroim va'akum dino ketolush. Since in terms of being machshir zroim, va'akum. And Akum. Akum halacha is here. Akum. Oh, they worship it becomes awesome. Right. You know, Ketolish. It becomes awesome. If you worship Mechubit, that's become awesome. Worship Tolish, it becomes awesome. He's Mechulin, he's Mechulin in Sukkah Nami, Dino Ketolish. So by Sukkah also, the halacha is that it's like Tolish, that it's no longer directly to the ground. Okay, Chavav, Yesh Nish L'Chomim Asu Sai Boim L'Chatchila. Here's the Chomim said it's preferable not using for Schach, Avshim Shem L'Sachim, even though they are kosher to be Schach. Ach Sheshem Reach Ra, but they have a bad smell. Sheyesh Mini Asavim, Zon Graz Shem Win Lachil, which not super feeding, but Em Kabel Tumah, they're not Makabel Tumah. Ach Reich Ra, but they smell bad. Chayshim were afraid Shelo Yuchal L'Shei B'Sukkah, now you won't be able to sit in the Sukkah. Because of the bad smell. The Mishnah says it was such a bad smell that nobody could tolerate it. So then it could be possibly not Torah because you need Teshul Kain Dadurum. You're going to listen in this place like it's in your house, and some type of smell should drive you out of your house. So singing this won't do you any good. So too, there are branches from which the leaves constantly fall off. Even though there's still going to be more shade than sun, people can't tolerate these things dropping down on their backs. Is going to leave the sukkah. Because the preferably, it should be the case. If you have no other choice, it's kosher. So anything else in the Torah is kosher. Is a davar they decreed against it for some purpose. You certainly should not. It's prevalent not to sit there. Vim yashav kiyam mitzvah sukkah. But if you sit down, it still has the mitzvah sukkah. That which it says you're not allowed to sit when the leaves are falling. Zelk shenoshim yatzon, so they fall on their own. Avalim noshim rak ruach neshesvet, if they only fall off when the wind blows against them, leis no ba'atzan problem. There's a go here, but you have to know the Gemara in order to see that go. The Mishnah says here, together of ein leisheba, if you did use them for schach, it's kosher to sit there, even though you have another schach. You could switch it. You're not mechuyev to switch the schach. That's why it could be enough of the evet. Chav zayin. V'nekani mutzah schach, you're allowed to use canes, reeds for sukkah. Kol kol maso ben l'sachim b'chavil shchaim, they say you can't use a bundle of reeds. Sheyesh chav hei a kanin with the 25 stalks b'chavila achas kshura in one bundle. But timely also why the kol schach sukkah avagav lo mean she sachen l'shem mitzvah sukkah schach sukkah doesn't have to be a schach l'shem mitzvah sukkah for the mitzvah come bayina she take I'm not l'shem tzel Has to be his intent is for the shade. Sat underneath it. Again, to protect because of the sun. Like we shall see. I mean, you put it to dry, or the clear, or to show if you wears. How to the kind of mitzvah sukkah, and you want to fulfill the mitzvah sukkah afterwards. Psula min hatera. You have to make it over again. So this, if you left the reeds there to dry, you bundle of reeds to dry, or for the notice afterwards, and no good. And so the stomach abatuma, you can't use them. So it's about Sarachas Chadasha, you need to make it over again if you want to use it. And that's what the Chum say, people put it on the roof in order to dry. But he said, and then they change the mind and make it into a sukkah. It's a problem. If it's possible, so you have to make the sukkah initially. You can't take something which is already made and make it into a sukkah. Possible. You have to make it not just in something which is already made, but also something which is made in psul, which is interesting derivation. I don't know that we call that usage of it that way. That we not even to give the bundle for the purpose of the mitzvah sukkah. Because of maybe it's going to put them dry. Sukkah, and then it's considered for the purpose of mitzvah sukkah. And Mishabur adds it didn't say to be possible even with the Yemen. I think we do some bundles nowadays. Said the kol chavila she prusim mechafei kanim. Well, I guess we don't. But that's 25 stalks. Masachim, but you can use it. Mishum ain't darkum yabsham and pachas mechavila shchafei kanim. You don't dry less than 25 at a time. Ukshiyesh bo chafei kanim when there are 25 kanim. Also sachim boy now it's just a bundle. Tav kishabil kshura mishnei which has only the bundle is securely tied on both sides. Shebakal tatlokach which is easier carried that way. Okshur b'emtzo it's locked in the it's tied in the middle. I'm sure, but Echam Mishnei Arashim, when it's tied only one of the two heads, and a chavil, it's not a bundle. Mutzah Sach, but it's for Sach. Fish ain't really a tiltu, it's not suitable for tiltu, not suitable to move so much. B'shei plut, and they're going to fall in place you can't carry them. It's also where the rods, the canes are completely separate from each other. You'll see me get they're all kind of the same trunk. And then on the other side, we see the foliage develops. But he wrapped it afterwards, so all be look like one thing, one batch. Then Aina. Yeah, because it all comes out of one trunk. But if you tie them up with other things, I feel kind of echad v'ogdam, even if it's one reed and you make a bundle of it, chal kulam shein chavila. So I guess he means even there's one above the 25. So it's Shem Chavila. How come Shem Chavila? Because this one extra read. The time the lo mikre Chavila. The reason why it's not called Chavila, having assumed the Ega B'davar Echad, wrapping something or binding it together with one binding. Live Shmei Eged, it's not considered to be binding. In other words, not one. So when you're binding one thing, one trunk, that's not a binding. Binding is at least two sticks, two trunks. Also any bundle which is I skipped. That's where there's another branch. Shapir Eged is a valid Eged. Also any bundle where it's not being tied for temporary. No, for a long time. You try for a long time. But for a short time, to sell them by number. When The buyer buys that he's going to remove the knot. Lo mikri chavila, it's not called chavila. Msachim bo, used for slach. The leka gzeiro, the liyabsham. There's no gzeiro that you might put up something else to dry on your roof because you put this up. Shein der kanim keli absham. There's no comparison. You don't use these types. You don't dry these sticks on top of the roof.